There was conversation earlier about the 9,000 permits and the impact that this is having. Mr. Chairman, there's something called a letter of authorization that National Marine Fisheries Service has to grant in order for energy producers in the offshore to be able to actually produce energy or to be able to do seismic surveys and things along those lines. These normally just take a few weeks, but National Marine Fisheries Service has delayed these things exponentially. And as a matter of fact, they recently came out, or I say recently in February, they came out and acknowledged that, quote, erroneous estimates resulted in miscalculated projections in the impact of activities in the Gulf of Mexico involving rarely sighted species. Let me give you an example. Maybe it was like this activity is going to impact walrus or maybe polar bears that you may be shocked to learn we actually don't have in the Gulf. And so it's another example of this administration, their mistakes that are causing an impact and are delaying production of energy. This is why they're even though we're at the highest percentage of permits that have ever been produced, that's why we're in this situation that we're in right now. So we do have an amendment. Amendment number 4 says that the bill cannot restrict access to critical minerals on federal land or increase reliance on foreign nations with human rights issues. Mr. Chairman, the reason we've proposed this amendment, let me be clear. We fully support increased deployment of renewable energy, which needs to include solar and wind. It needs to include wave and geothermal. It needs to include hydro. It needs to include nuclear energy, including SMRs and next-gen nuclear. And it needs to include oil and gas because the Biden administration's own projections indicate that there's going to be a surge in oil and gas demand globally. Like I said, developing countries, nearly an 80% increase in demand moving forward. And so rather than doing what this administration's doing, where they're shutting down the twin metals mine, shutting down the resources we need to deploy renewable energy in the United States, rather than what this administration's doing, we're just, what was that, yesterday or day before, the Biden administration comes out and says that we are actually going to eliminate tariffs for solar panels that are being transshipped from China. China right now manufactures 90% of the solar panels that are being sold around the world. 90%. You know what? We want solar energy too, where it makes sense, when it's economically sustainable and it's environmentally sustainable. This administration is not just going to other countries for oil and gas. They're going to other countries for renewable energy sources too, whether it's the critical minerals and the rare earths, or it's actually the production of things like wind turbines or things like solar panels. You can't make this stuff up. If we didn't learn our lesson that this administration committed to triple our dependence on Russian oil, now we're going to go and say, hey, we're going to get all of our solar panels from China? Which juveniles are running this place? This is crazy. We're going to go from one authoritarian regime to the other, and we're going to be dependent upon them and give them leverage over our economy and our national security. This isn't funny. This is serious stuff, and it's incredibly dangerous. Look, I make mistakes all the time, but I try to go back and acknowledge them and fix them. This administration keeps doubling and tripling down on the stupid decisions that have got us in this situation. Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna actually say something that I don't think I've ever said before, and I hope I never say again.
Let's take this moment.
In this instance, I actually think I agree with Senator Schumer, Senator Markey, Senator Cantwell, and Senator Menendez. Let me explain. In a letter that they sent a while back, they said the current run-up in world energy prices is effectively a tax on every American family's discretionary budget, except that the money goes to the OPEC cartel rather than the U.S. Treasury. Let me say it again. It's pretty rare that I actually agree with those senators, Senator Schumer, Senator Markey, Senator Cantwell, and Senator Menendez, but you know what? They got it right. This is a tax on the American people, and the profits are going to OPEC. They're not coming to the U.S. Treasury because this administration is blocking domestic energy production. I urge adoption of the amendment and yield back.